I have challenged the forms and conventions of other real documentaries by opening with a medium shot of the presenter, with the venue behind. When I was conducting research, it seems that most, if not all, of the real documentaries I looked at had this feature in order to establish their theme and setting. So by including this convention, not only was I able to establish the theme and setting, but also the genre of my text by using a highly recognised and well-known convention. Another typical convention is the use of night vision. Night vision gave my documentary a spooky tint and is highly associated with ghost hunting in the dark, and therefore is an extremely important and popular convention. When establishing our expert, I used a variety of camera shots. This was commented on by Mr. Hildrew and Alex Anderson, liking the use of over-shoulder shots and low-angle shots from 43 seconds. I am very pleased with this section, and reading the audience feedback helps me to analyse the documentary for both good and bad points for development.
I would not wish to be in their shoes this evening. I sit comfortably out here enjoying the beautiful night air while they scream for forgiveness.
Another feature mentioned in the audience feedback was the use of night vision. Lucy Williams said, "I like how you have used night mode. This adds to the meaning of the documentary, and I can see that you have really thought out the mise-en-scene within the documentary."
This is where most of the encounters have taken place. Some of the previous owners...
For my two ancillary tasks, I chose to make a radio advert and a newspaper advert. In the radio advert, I used the presenter's voice to create a direct link and tie it in with the documentary. However, after completing a first draft, I decided that the representation of the genre needs to be clearer. In the second advert I produced, I believe the genre is represented well, explaining the nature and aim of the documentary, with dialogue acting as an anchor to the spooky sound effects, such as thunderclaps and radio static. I had to make sure I got all of the information across in a concise manner, keeping the length of the advert minimal. This not only makes the advert punchy and effective, but it also helps it to fit in with the conventions of a real radio advert, as cost increases considerably with the length and airtime of the advert. When making my newspaper advert, I wanted to use images from the documentary to portray the theme and genre across to the audience, again using the text as an anchor to the images. I used the pub's hanging sign, but replaced the pub name with the title of my documentary. This signified that the programme was something to do with haunting in a pub. I then added some night vision stills from the documentary around the sign to secure the ghost hunting documentary ideology.
Yeah, it's definitely a female by looking at it.
By looking at it from this, you would have to say that it's female.
But what I find interesting about that clip is
I used many new media technologies to make my text as realistic and professional as possible. In the research stages, I used the internet and YouTube to compare different ghost hunting documentaries, as well as reading about them on their websites. This enabled me to gain a good knowledge of typical forms and conventions featured in many ghost hunting documentaries. Once I had gained this understanding and planned my documentary, we went on location to begin filming. For this we used HD DV cameras with a Rode microphone sound kit. These choices helped us capture the best quality image and sound. For editing, I used Adobe Premiere Pro. Having used this software before, I already had a basic understanding of it and its functions. But making the documentary has broadened my knowledge of it, and it has seen me using effects such as constant power between sound effects to subtly lead the audience into the next shot, rather than having a harsh, noticeable cut. I also used cross-dissolve on the video to give the same effect. However, to fit in with the forms and conventions, jump cuts seem to be the best for this kind of genre. I learned how to use two video channels simultaneously in order to create the effect where we see the partly transparent ghost sat on the bench with the two girls. Finally, I have learned how to create animated and rolling title sequences, which are featured in both the beginning and the end of my documentary.
Is almost over. But is it really over?